So if you were in a relationship with an avoidant and you always felt like you were the one doing all the work, you were the one always trying, and the avoidant never seemed to do any of the work, meaning they never, made any attempts to keep the connection going. When you would ask for what you needed in the relationship, they wouldn't honor it, they wouldn't look at it. It seemed like they were always the one that was receiving, you were always the one giving. And then as you gave and gave and gave more and more and more, they would pull away more and more and more, right? And then you would work to, keep the relationship close, which is an anxious trait. And as you would do that, again, the more that you try to gain, the connection and keep the connection, the faster they would pull away. Till ultimately they discarded you, and then they just wouldn't seem to fight for the relationship. They wouldn't seem to, want to keep the connection that you guys had together alive. And you felt like you were the only one fighting to keep this thing going and alive. And they just seemed to just let it go like it was nothing to them. Let me explain why that's happening and what you can do to get past this, right? What the cure for this is. And that's simply, number one, is the reason that they do this is not because they don't care, but because they've conditioned their nervous system so that the closer you get, the more dangerous it feels for them, the more dysregulated it feels, because being close in the past, in their childhood, would signify pain for them. Because when they would go to their caretaker, their parent would kind of scold them for, showing emotions, right? Not now, I can't deal with your stuff right now, go away, talk to your mother, talk to your father. I don't want to deal with this right now. I don't have time for this right now, right? They would get slapped down emotionally every time that the child, the avoidant, had feelings. And so they learned to stuff them down. They learned that was unsafe. And so in adulthood, it shows up as, being dysregulated. The nervous system comes online before they consciously have these thoughts. And they also believe that because of that past, that, and again, a child does not know or have any awareness that, like, hey, this is about my father, this is about my mother, not me. So they think, well, it must be me. There must be something wrong with me. And that's where this sense of being broken develops. And as it, develops, it gets worse and worse and deeper over time. And so, what that looks like in adulthood is that they have this narrative that plays that says, I am unsafe when somebody gets close. Connection means danger. Connection means pain. And so I need to distance, I need to get the hell away so I can be safe. And only when I'm by myself am I safe emotionally and secure emotionally. That is why that they don't seem to fight for you. The other reason is because you, being the anxious person, most likely, in the relationship, you, let's say, when you get closer to them, they have this narrative in their head that's playing all the time in the background in their subconscious saying, I'm broken, I'm, no good, I'm not enough. And so they will play that out over and over again. And so when you try to get closer, they think in their mind, in the back of their mind, that eventually this is going to end. Eventually this is going to end. Eventually this is going to come to a close. And so I can't deal with that kind of pain. So they sabotage the relationship and they don't fight for the relationship. And what you can do about that is not to focus on them, but to focus on you and your anxious attachment. And when they pull away, instead of getting dysregulated and trying to pull them in closer, you focus on what you can do, which is A, to give them the space that they need, and B, to self-regulate by yourself without needing to self-regulate through somebody else. right? By identifying what core wounds or negative tapes you're playing about who you are and what you are worth. That is the fix. That is how you solve that problem, right? And then when you start moving to a secure place, you won't feel the need to constantly pull them in. You know, I'm not saying that you won't want a connection with somebody, but you're not going to do that at the expense of your own happiness, self-worth, and, you know, what's good for you. So if you are interested in that, you can book a one-on-one session with me, yours truly, and that link is the link is in the description. I will see you guys on the next video.